us right before here we go. We're broadcasting live on the webinar. So what you want to do is get your revenue people and bring them in the room right now and make a cup of coffee and sit around the computer on Facebook and listen to our webinar. So Linda, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Conway. I'm the Executive Director of New England Newspaper and Press Association. Thanks so much for everybody for participating today. A few little housekeeping items. We're going to mute everybody and we'll take questions from everybody. If you see the chat button there, just type in your questions there. And I'll make sure that Al gets to all of the questions. We have a couple of questions that people have sent in ahead of time, so we'll go ahead with that. I want to introduce Al Getler. Al's been with the newspaper industry for a long time. He's been a long time board member for the New England Newspaper and Press Association. He's currently Vice President of Sales and Business Development for Advantage Newspaper Consultants. So you all probably know him from his different positions that he's had in Massachusetts, Vermont. He's been all over New England for a bunch of companies. Al, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Linda. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Like Linda said, I am Al Getler. My background is I've spent about, let's see here, 14 years in the New England area. Started off with the community newspaper company, which was the Fidelity-owned company originally, then Pat Purcell at the Herald. So I was down in Framingham, but had the papers all the way from the North Shore to the South Shore. Was part of Gatehouse in the very, very beginning, and then transitioned over to the North of Boston Media Group, which was based in North Andover, and the Eagle Tribune, and then moved on to become the publisher of the Burlington Free Press and Free Press Media in Burlington, Vermont, where my family and I remain today in Burlington on Lake Champlain, where the sun just came out, the sky is clear, and that's a good thing as we head into the 4th of July weekend. So this is a unique opportunity here to talk about what's going on in the field. Very quickly, our company, ANC, we're a revenue development company. We service the newspaper industry very well. We do all kinds of revenue campaigns. We focus a lot on entertainment guides and digital sales. So I'm not going to give you very many commercials about us at all. I want to jump right into the presentation. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I think is really near and dear to everybody's heart, and that is the fact that things have changed dramatically because of the pandemic, and we have to change our sales approach. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, if you're watching the webinar, we want to make sure that as many revenue people get a chance to see this webinar, to talk about what's happening out in the field when it comes to selling and how the sales process has changed a tad bit, a lot in some cases. The good news is we're out there selling, right? We're out there servicing our customers, and life's a little different. So I want to jump into that today. Again, you know, if you are a revenue person, I'm glad you're here. If you're not a revenue person, either bring them on into the call, give somebody a text, because a lot of you working from home. Tell them to go ahead and tune in on the Facebook page, or go ahead quick and sign up for the webinar. All the stuff will be available again for replay. So in that case, if you want to send it on to somebody, that's great. So let's just jump right into things. First of all, you know, we are used to being close to each other in a sales environment where we can celebrate together and be close and be a sales team. And we like that, right? But the problem we have had is things have changed dramatically because of the pandemic. We saw a lot of businesses having to close down in the pandemic. We saw a lot of businesses have to do a lot of retooling. And we are starting to see things reopen in some parts of the country. And we're also seeing some things starting to close down again in part of the country. So we want to look at this and say, okay, what experience do we all have in this? Well, personally, I've been through 9/11 and what that did to the economy. I was part of the 2008 economic crash. And I can tell you one thing, during those times, we learned how to do things differently. And of course, we're in the same situation today. We have to figure out how to do things, you know, differently. Worrying about it, being stressed out. I just, ironically, the last thing I read last night, laying in bed, was an article about stress. And I can feel the stress coming on to me constantly. Yeah, it's great to be working from home, but you know what? I'm used to getting on an airplane and traveling all over the United States. I was just saying to my wife yesterday, I filled the gas tank in my car for the second time since March 15th. The second time.
Wow.
That's how little traveling I've been doing these days. So I live on an island. We're connected to Vermont mainland, but I have everything I need pretty much here, which I'm going to talk about that actually in a second. But one of the words that my team and I had at the North of Boston Media Group, we used it a lot during that time frame when the economic downturn occurred, is we used the word nimble. That was, if you called some folks over there today, you called, someone like Jim Falzone or Dave Levine or Mark Zappa, and they asked you what word did we operate under, the word was nimble. We were constantly being nimble, constantly checking ourselves. What can we do different? How can we change things around? And we did a lot back then. We added a magazine division. We changed our website around. We added mobile apps. I mean, we're talking about 2008, 2009, 2010. Remember back then when the iPhone was brand new? Seems like it's been around forever, right? It hasn't been. We had to be nimble. So it's time for everybody to be nimble once again. What does nimble mean? It means to be quick and light in motion. It means to be alert and have clever conception, responsive, be sensitive. This is nimble. On the other side of the coin, when you look at the thesaurus or you look at the antonyms for not being nimble, basically, airheaded, bird brain, boneheaded, brain dead, bubblehead. I mean, look at all those words. It's great, right? I didn't know there were so many ways to not be nimble, right? But how do you want to be known? That's the question. That's the question. In this experience we're having today as a revenue person, how do you want to be known? Do you want to be nimble, or do you want to not be nimble and be known as some of the words I just put up on the screen? We have some folks in New England who have been extremely nimble. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit when I get around to talking about our videos. One of them is featured in the video. He's one of our business's partners. We love working with him. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what about what's going on out in the field with our advertisers? Let's focus on our advertisers for a second. We saw a lot of this occur. We saw a lot of our advertisers become really, really nimble, right? Let me talk about right here on my little island where I live in Lake Champlain. What happened with a place called Wally's Bagel? Wally's Bagel, near and dear to my heart, because number one, my wife operated with Wally's Bagels for a while, and my teenage daughter works there. That's her part-time job. It's her summer job. She works at Wally's Bagels. Well, when you have a thriving small business that's dependent upon people coming in around the counter like this and seeing things they want and ordering them and give me one of those and give me one of those, things change when you have to shut and lock your door. You have to be nimble. The first thing Wally's did was start a to-go window. Very first thing. They shut the place down and they took one window and designated that as the to-go window, and they kept operating. But secondly, like a lot of our businesses that we work with, along the very top, online ordering available now, overnight, literally over a weekend, they had to transition to a digital ordering platform, something that was never even, in their mindset before COVID-19 hit, okay? So now you could go to their website and you could order bagels. This is how I did it. You could order bagels by the dozen, one kind, a variety of kind, whatever, but it was nimble. Right away, they went from not being this type of business to being this business. When you look back at how many people have added e-commerce, this is a form of e-commerce to their business operations, it is mind-boggling. More on that in a bit, because you know what? As a newspaper, you can have a leadership role in being nimble and developing this type of e-commerce. Think about that for a second. We'll talk about it. So when things change and you have a whole economy that has gone to having to change to be very, very different, the very fact, without going to get into mask wearing and the politics of it, to me, it's kind of simple. Wear a mask to be safe around other people, keep other people safe. I get that. I'm not here to argue that today, but we've had to be nimble and learn how to do that. So I want to talk about that next nimble place. We have a little place on our island here. It's called Keeler's Bay Variety. We call it KBV. Like when I'm on my way home, I pick up the phone and I call my wife and say, I'm going to KBV. You need anything? Why? Because KBV has everything. And we like to say, if they don't have it, you don't need it. Bottom line, okay? They have everything from pickles and cold cuts to fine wines and alcohol and everything in between. So this is Keeler Bay Variety. It's a gas pump. It's where you get your propane tank filled. It's where you get everything you need at Keeler Bay. They had to shut down their store. What did they do? They immediately became nimble. they figured out that they would have to switch to curbside pickup immediately. And we never lost our favorite little grocery store. In fact, we found more things available at KBV during the original stay-at-home, the March-April time period, than we did when you went to big places like Costco and the supermarket. They had everything we needed. It was amazing how they were nimble. Today, they quickly changed this family-owned operation, the Horn family. They quickly changed it to putting plexiglass up. You have to wear a mask when you go inside, but it's still our little variety store, and it's still the way they operate, and they have serviced their communities. Obviously, they're extremely essential. They have become nimble. So I guess my point is that if these types of businesses, if these types of businesses can be nimble, my question to all of you is, are you prepared to be nimble at your newspaper? Have you stopped for a moment to talk as a team and to say, how can we be more nimble? And we're going to talk a little bit towards the end of this presentation about your time and the things that you're doing and the things you are not doing and how we get there. But let's keep going back to the presentation and talk a bit about being nimble for newspapers again. You got to do it. You don't have a choice. First of all, what's in your toolbox, right? You got to take a step back and say, what do we have in our toolbox to help our community, to help our advertisers? Sometimes we forget who we are in the community. We're a source of information, both in editorial and in advertising, right? And, sometimes in editorial, we don't like to think about the fact that what we do is provide a lot of advertising information and resource to people. So we have that in our toolbox. We have print in our toolbox. We have digital in our toolbox, okay? That's something that for some of us is fairly new. For some of us, we've been at it for a while. Either way, we have it and we can do it and we can make it available to people, all right? We have events in our toolbox. Now, we used to do those one-on-one, right? We used to do those live. What about the kind of system we're using today? What about Zoom? What about conferencing? Have you done any of that with your paper? Have you thought that through? Have you decided what's in your toolbox today that you could do very, very differently to be more nimble, to be more creative, and to develop things that people need? Also, you have a building block of resources to give to your advertisers, to give to your customers, okay? To give to your readers, for that matter. Are you looking at the building block of resources you have? Maybe shifting the blocks around a little bit, right? Because times are changing, things are changing. Some of you are calling on customers again. When I say face-to-face, either social distancing or using a mask, whatever the advertiser's comfort might be. But the point is are you shifting the building blocks around to address the current environment? So we also know that we are doing some of this with kind of less people on our teams, right? Economic times have called for some more reductions, and some of you are taking on more of a workload because there's less people around. That doesn't mean that you have to work twice as hard. It means you have to work, obviously, the phrase, twice as smart. You got to be doing things that are very, very different. It is what it is, I tell people, when it comes to the size of your team. It is what it is. You're not going to change it. Belly aching, get it out of the way and over. Get on with it and figure out how you're going to service your customers. They're the most important part of this equation. You got to go to the 2020 plan B, right? I feel like, I don't know how you feel, Linda, but I feel like I'm on plan X, Y, and almost Z at this point with 2020. But it is what it is. And, we keep on changing and having to be nimble and figure things out. Even for a matter of a company like ours, where people live all around the country, we have to have a phone call this afternoon about being nimble, because we have to try to figure out how to bring somebody in from someplace else in the country. Can we do it? How do we do it? These are things we have to be nimble about. So what we're doing, though, is to change things to what really the marketplace needs. Our changing is about giving the marketplace what they need. So when we get down to what they need information. They need information on what other people are doing, what's going on in the marketplace, how can I reopen, what are the tools that are available to me. You are that basis. You are that core of information. I'll tell you one thing we did with our company. We decided that one of the things we could do with COVID-19 and with stay-at-home is we could talk to our colleagues in the industry. So the first thing we did is we did a series of videos. There are 26 videos on our website right now. If you go to newspaperconsultants.com/videos, you're going to see 26 videos, and they're not just newspaper people. They're business people from all over the country and the world. There are people talking about how they're working things out during stay-at-home, how they're going to reopen, What are the things to be thinking about? One of the most watched videos in our library is about a barbershop, believe it or not, and how a barbershop would figure out the customer experience. But one of the videos I want to talk about today is Mike Schroeder down in Central Connecticut, and a video that he did about how they reacted at the Central Connecticut Communications Company with their newspapers and what they did to help their advertisers, mainly their restaurants. They reacted quickly. They were nimble. Go on this video page and watch Mike's story. It's really great. And there's lots of other good ones on there as well. Like I said, there's a huge library of these videos. So jump on there and check that out. Guess what? Your newspaper can be doing this too. There's no reason why you can't do advertising videos for your advertisers to help them out. One of the other things we did is we created a resource. In fact, it's the title of this webinar today. And there's a book available that goes with the webinar that you can download off our website, or Linda's going to make it available to you as well from NEMPA. But we took the time to be nimble, to figure out what we could do to recreate. And we even rebranded our company, actually, which is kind of interesting. We went back and used this time to rebrand all of ANC into a different brand. So that's what we did. So we put our money where our mouth is. So let's talk about you. First of all, when it comes to selling, simply selling stuff for the advertisers to buy is no longer the answer, okay? You know what I'm talking about. I've got my favorite thing that I always do when I talk about how reps kind of go to the office, they pull one of every flyer, they hug them to their chest, they walk into the advertiser, and I call it kind of flyer puking. They take all the flyers and blah, they put them out on the advertiser's desk, and they say, here, we got this special section, we got this digital offer, we got this. No. First of all, a lot of people do needs analysis, which I'm all for needs analysis most times. But what we need to be doing now is giving advertisers things that are going to help them get through the present situation. That is the call that we have to doing this. So let's jump into providing our clients what they need and how to help them move towards the new normal. And the title of this webinar, the 5 ways we must change our sales approach. Let's jump into it. Number 1, our customer approach will change. How we talk to the customers will change. You guys that are out there selling, you know this already. We are becoming partners now. We're not salespeople just selling stuff. We're partners and we're advisors. No one's getting around the marketplace more than you are, whether you're still doing appointments this way by Zoom or you're out there face-to-face. You are gathering lots of market data. You can help and advise people. Become a business partner. I tell you, there's a great book out there. I was just a guest on this guy's podcast last week. His name is Keenan. The book is Gap Selling. Some really good information in this book. Take this downtime, if you will, to do some reading, to pick up a book on sales, to learn some new techniques. While you're reading this book, understand somebody like Keenan didn't write it during the pandemic. So you're going to have to adjust some of the things that are said in there, or go ahead and listen to his podcast and learn about that. And again, podcasts, videos, anything you can bring in as a salesperson. Become an advisor to your advertiser. We need to, what we need to do is to give some analysis for what they need and present that in kind of a way that is more direct than the needs analysis. And this is kind of controversial when I say this to some of my business partners, but it's time to give the needs analysis a rest for a little while. What do I mean by that? It's time to do a needs analysis on the fly. It's time to come to my business and tell me what I need to do today, what I can do, what you can offer me today to get my business noticed and out there. I had a customer say to me once, needs analysis, schmeeds analysis, just tell me what I need. And why do customers get that way? Because every media is doing needs analysis now, right? The newspaper does a needs analysis. The radio station does a needs analysis. The television station does a needs analysis. The outdoor company does a needs analysis. The local digital agency that calls on them wants to do a needs analysis, okay? Well, we're the best possible digital agency they can have. We're their know, like, and trusted newspaper. But we've got to put the needs analysis, in my opinion, in the back seat a little bit. Right now, help people with what they need to get them where they need to be. And then we have to start setting appointments and not just think that we can call in or cold call or stop in on somebody. Find out what works timing wise for people. The customer approach changes. One thing I don't think I put on this slide here that I want to add is you need to start the conversation with just how you doing. Now, I heard another webinar recently where the person said, don't ask someone how they're doing because then you're going to find out how they're doing and ain't nobody got time for that. I disagree. It's important for you to ask your advertisers how they're doing. Okay. I think that they want to tell you how they're doing. You know your customers better than anybody. Some of them may go on a little longer. There's ways around that, but it is important to understand what's the status of their business today. So I'm going to pause there and just ask Linda. I know you've been kind of bringing in questions and things like that. Do you want to pause now? Or do you want me to keep on going and you can ask some questions?
No, I've got one here that I wanted to pose to you. It says, can you discuss challenges of selling in a submarket of a major metro area where customers have way more choice than in small towns?
Yeah, that's a really big one, especially, in the New England area where we have larger cities and towns and community newspapers around them. And that's the business I've been in for almost my entire newspaper career. You are the local newspaper, and you need to remind people of that. I mentioned before our brand, the brand that we did here. You got to remember that you're a brand, okay? And you are a brand that they know, like, and trust in your community. So even though you're competing against a larger media company, or other media companies, it's your job to remind folks why you're the best choice. And that doesn't just happen one time. You've got to share things with people. Let's say you have an HVAC dealer that you work with, repair and dealership, okay? Well, when you see articles about their business, email that to them once in a while. Keep your radar constantly going and send people helpful things. If you've ever done your Myers-Briggs or your disc analysis, in my disc analysis, it tells me that I am a connector. Okay. And connectors mean that I'm always thinking about things. Like, for instance, Linda and I are at a barbecue and she mentions that, boy, she needs to have her deck replaced. And the following week, I'm with a guy who does decks or a gal that does decks. And I say to her, hey, my friend Linda needs a deck. I'm going to give them your phone number because you seem like a nice person. And now I've connected them. Okay. Well, that's what you do as a salesperson. Hey, HVAC person, you've got 10 trucks on the street. I just read an article about how HVAC companies can use a router system to save more on fuel and gas or time or whatever. That's what connectors do. So Linda, my answer to that question is when you're competing against somebody who's in a larger metro market, the thing to do is to remind them in many, many ways that you are the local media company. Okay?
And you really are a connector, Al, too. After knowing you for so many years, you absolutely are.
No, thanks, Linda, very much. So should I keep going or do you have another one?
Let's see, I have somebody who just wrote in, as an advertising relations director for a small nonprofit New England paper, I struggle with a large international disconnect my editor and the editorial department impose on the synergy between advertising and editorial. There's no communication between these departments to the point where I have no idea what stories will be coming out week to week. I believe a lot of revenue could be leveraged if special focus sections could be created and business spotlights to boost economy. Yet I have no guarantee these special focus platforms will be published, so I find myself in a catch-22 to push advantageous offerings of this kind to my clients. Is this a normal partnership for a newspaper? Regardless if it is or not, how do I work around this to work best for my clients and offer them something special in this time of economic crisis?
Wow, I feel I'm back in 1999 again, when I used to go around the country talking about a project called Reader Inc., where we married the newsrooms and the rest of the newspapers just to talk about what's coming in editorial content. It's not breaking down the very strong wall between what editorial needs to do as an editorial department and what advertising and even circulation and readership need to do to better the newspaper. So, I think really simply what you're telling me is that you don't have the news budget for your newsletter or your newspaper. It is entirely appropriate. Drag this video in and have somebody watch it. It is entirely appropriate for the news department to share their budget with the rest of the paper. So things are coming up. And, Linda, I remember when that was such a foreign concept. I remember when I sent my single copy manager at the Press of Atlantic City to the editorial meeting one day with the editor's agreement, and what the other editor's reaction was. They lost their minds, that someone would be coming in from another department. But that was, 30 years ago, okay? We should now be having an open conversation about these things. We're not asking editors to sell advertisement, nor are we asking advertisers to write editorials, okay? Not what we're doing, but we do need to be talking to each other, and we do need to be driving the business forward by communicating. So here's another book. Ready? Sorry, jumping off camera. All right, another book, No Failed Communication, just came out by my friend Michael Hyatt. You got to read stuff, and you got to understand that communication is key. My other bookshelf over here, anything written by Patrick Lencioni. You guys know him as The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Read that model, all right, that he has. There's a number of them about creating healthy organizations. We've got to be healthy organizations. So, all right, I'm going to jump back into my slide so I don't get too far off, Linda. I'll start again and stop again. And we'll ask the next round of questions in a few slides down. So, number 2, 5 ways we have to change. First, we will sell audience. Second, we will sell audience. Okay, it's not just print, it's not just digital, it's not just special sections, it's not just digital contests and promotions. A lot of people are having really good luck with digital contests from places like Second Street. Fantastic stuff. Make sure folks know that you have an audience. I don't know why some people don't talk about print as much as they used to. To me, that's insane. The print part of our newspapers are still so important. The people who are reading print publications are the ones that have the most expendable income. Their demographics, yeah, a little bit higher, but they have the income to do that. Now, I sell digital. I do digital. You want me to build you a WordPress site here in the next 15 minutes and get it up and running? I probably can do it. It takes a little while to get the host to, grab it and put it up and cycle it through. But the point is, I know digital, but I still believe in print. I still have 2 newspapers a day delivered to my home. I still find the intimacy of that. Sell print and its romance with its reader. Yes, sell digital. It's a great way to target people. It's a great way to find people where they are. What can you do to make that audience important? Special sections, again, still a fantastic way to connect. And then, contests and promotions. This whole thing is audience. So when you're talking about that first question you asked me about audience, you have a tremendous audience. You just have to start putting it all together in your mind. Even your Facebook page is an audience. Your Instagram, if you have an Instagram presence, all part of audience. We have audience. Remember today to sell audience, okay? I know circulation is a word we used a lot in the past. It's really audience. We want to sell audience. So that's one of the other things that changes. Next, we have to package things. This comes out strong by a lot of people I talk to. We have got to simply package things. Simplification is what the customer needs. They don't need complex. It isn't selling a deal or a special section of the day. It is selling them what they need plus content plus audience. And then when you do that, consider the commitment length. So in other words, when I'm going to package something up for a customer, I want it to make sense. Maybe it's got a taste of print, a taste of digital, a taste of something else. I can package that together to a customer that is desperately looking to reconnect with audience because they're reopening in a very different environment and they want to get the word out that they're there. How can I package it all together? How can I combine that? When we're out selling digital with our team, with our partner newspapers, we are packaging things together. We always want the advertiser to know that we have a menu of options and we're going to get their audience in front of the message they want to deliver. And then later on, we'll come back and show them how it worked. But sell the packages connected with your audience. That's how things have changed a bit. We're no longer out there doing one-ups. We have to go out and sell packaging. So that's the point I made before. Now, one thing about this list of 5 things I'm giving you, this is not the be-all, end-all. In fact, it's so not the be-all, end-all that when I'm done with this whole 5 things, I'm going to come around and give you a few more bonus ones. So stick around for that. The next thing is number 4. We will become a center for ideas. I mentioned this to you before. Ideas can be shared through emails. And by the way, if you're a rep that has a territory and you're out there selling and doing appointments and conversing, if Linda's in my territory and I'm talking to her and she tells me about a really neat way she changed her business model so that it makes sense for her customers and her, I got to remember that and all the other ones I find. And maybe every Friday afternoon, I do an email to all of my customers, all of the people who are in my CRM, who are in my territory. And I just say, hey, here's my ideas list of the week. Doesn't have to be big and complex. It can be bullet points. Here's six bullet points of things that I heard that are people doing this week. You might want to consider doing those as well. Okay. If you want more information, contact me and I'll connect you to them. So that's a great thing. You can do that by video. Point number 2, you can do that by video. You can sit at your desk, take this fabulous little production studio that you all have in the palm of your hand, okay? And you can shoot a 5-minute video on a phone and email that to everybody. In fact, there are also some email, there's also some new marketing softwares out there that you can, SaaS that you can software service purchase for minimal amount per month to embed email videos right into your emails and send them out. What about a newspaper webinar? Linda, do you know of any of our members that have done a newspaper webinar during this COVID-19 thing?
I don't.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know
that
of any
strikes
of them
me.
that have.
Why are we not doing a webinar like this for our advertisers? I don't, it blows me away. I haven't seen it. Why are we not doing a webinar about the state of our own marketplace? You know, the town that we are in, the city that we serve, the area, the county, what's going on? Maybe a round table with, a mayor, a chamber of commerce person, maybe not talking heads that we're used to seeing, maybe business owners. What's it really like out there? Put together a Zoom call, a webinar just like this. The software is incredible, Zoom, right? And all the other ones that are out there, but I'll concentrate on Zoom. I've been using it for 2.5 years. I love it. There's so many possibilities that you can do with it. And you can record it and you can repost it in other places. Here's the one I talked about before. What if you as a newspaper brought in an e-commerce expert to help people with their website e-commerce information or establishing, the best practices on their websites? What if you as the newspaper became the leader of that? Maybe there's nothing in it for you at the moment, but is there? Maybe there is. Because when I have an e-commerce website now on my clothing store or my hardware store or my bagel shop or my local general store, I need to advertise that. I need to tell people that you can now order online. There's no better way to connect digital than with print and messaging like that and branding all around. But why don't you do a webinar on e-commerce practices? There are a bazillion people out there that can lead that for you as a guest speaker. So there's some ideas to throw your way. Number 5, we will be technology-based sales professionals. Folks, if you have not taken your stay-at-home time to become more efficient, more of an expert in certain areas, you're cheating yourself and your customers. You should all be Zoom experts right now. We should all be Google Meet experts. I'm going to focus on Google Meet in a minute. We should be expert users in these categories. We should be expert hosts in these categories. Linda became an expert host because of what we're doing here today. How about Google Calendar? Are you using Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar? In other words, are you sending calendar invitations to people that you need to talk to? It's the only way I can operate because of 2 things. Number 1, I've been dependent upon my electronic calendar for so long now. It's how I do business. But secondly, how many people have said to you, I don't even know what day of the week it is right now. I have no clue. Is this Thursday or is this Friday? Is it 1 o'clock or is it 4 o'clock? So when you send a calendar reminder to people, technology does the rest. Start utilizing your calendar. And then email templates. This is the greatest thing. I'll show it to you in a minute. In other words, folks, as a salesperson, you must geek out. You have got to use the technologies that are available to you because overnight, my 76-year-old mother-in-law learned how to Zoom. Okay? I mean, that's the message for you right there. People are Zooming. Grandmas, grandpas, kids, everything in between. Everybody knows how to Zoom now. 2.5 years ago when I first signed up to Zoom, it was like, what is that? Well, today you can take a customer on a sales call in about 2 minutes. Hey, Mary, you got 5 minutes? I want to show you something. Sure, let's hop on Zoom right now. Bam, I'm sending you, boom, you're doing a sales call. That's it. Wow, incredible, right? So get used to being that sales rep that can get on and do things like this. If you aren't doing it already, build a much higher comfort level. Become an expert in these areas. Do not shy from it. I don't care if you're 21 or 71. Grab it and go with it. Absolutely. If you're 71, you can't figure it out, hire a teenager, right? That's the one thing I tell people. Get somebody out there that can help you learn how this technology works. So I told you I'd show you something. I think this is cool. I found this by accident. Okay, let me just switch something around on my desktop here for a second. I'm going to move Linda. Okay, put you up on the top there, Linda. Good deal. So look at this in email. This is in Gmail. A lot of you are using the enterprise Gmail, which is what we use, okay? Right there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, it says templates. Do you see that? What happens is when you click on templates, you can now come up with a template for an email. So I went out and asked a bunch of people about how they think sales have changed. I wanted to send it to a lot of people in specific email form. So I wrote this email using this template that I just had to push the button and the template pops up. Once I write the template, I can then save it and I can send it to as many people as I want to individually. Instead of doing a big blind copy email like so many of us do, I can now use the template to fill it out add the name, and in this case here, as you can see, I invited Tim Cook to a conference. I don't think he's going to show up, but to this discussion about idea sharing, okay? That's a little trick right there in Gmail, templates. I'm sure Outlook has templates too. I haven't used Outlook in a little bit now. I probably should go back and learn some of the new tricks of Outlook, but templates, what a great way just to utilize what's out there, okay? And then you can give that template a new name, Friday Idea Session. When you want to develop the idea session concept, you can build a template for it and boom, you hit one button and your email is written in templates. Isn't that fantastic? It's great stuff, okay? There it is, Friday Idea Sessions. You hit it and there's the email, boom, okay? There's Tim Cook right there, fantastic. So what about this? Did you guys notice this on your email, on your Gmails if you have Gmail? All of a sudden we have a thing that says start a meeting. What? What are you talking about start a meeting? Well, guess what? Zoom woke up some of the giants. Two things have happened. First of all, Google, who used to do Google Hangouts and is now going to do away with that, now has Google Meet, okay? It's kind of like Zoom Lite, if you ask me. You got to go in there and play around a little bit, but in every Gmail, there is a button for you to now start a meeting with an advertiser or invite them to a meeting in an email and get that done right there in the email. What I did not include in this deck today, because it's so new and I haven't played around with it enough, all of a sudden my Windows 10 did an update, and without even asking, I now have Microsoft Teams on my computer, okay? Well, that's a whole new push on Microsoft and their response to Zoom, Microsoft Teams. A lot of companies have switched to it because in the initial part of COVID, Zoom had a couple of little security issues that they've now resolved completely. But in the meantime, Microsoft said, let's go on Team. And the message to you, if you have Skype, watch out, because I'm reading Skype's going to stop being supported. Learn how to use all these conferencing tools. But right here in Gmail, boom, there's one right there. You can start a video conferencing. So how about you is my question. How are you going to become more nimble? What are you going to do to become more nimble? So Linda, let me stop there and see if you have any more questions.
I do. I have a couple more that came in. The next one is, how can you convince a business that's barely surviving financially to advertise?
Great question. Really good question. I'll tell you a little story. We just finished up in Geneva, New York with our partner there. They are a Finger Lakes newspaper. And we have actually postponed and restarted there. And there was some nervousness about going out and selling in the marketplace. I want to tell you, first of all, our ANC rep with their reps came in at 120% of goal to that, because a couple of reasons. They worked with our system. We made it work. That team worked so incredibly hard. The leader of that group, Mark Lucas, a great publisher. He's also the ad director, has both titles like a lot of people do today. We planned, we got it done. These businesses, some of them were closed up until the week before we were there. We had conversations with them about where things are going presently. And if you're going to reopen, you got to tell people that you're there. Now, a lot of people got PPP money, so that's important to understand as well. 2 people had PPP money, but the convincing of you have to spend some money to advertise. And believe me, that's not the advertiser who says that kind of thing. You're going to go in and sell, a $100,000 package. But what can you do for them today? What small thing can you offer them today? I'll give you 2 examples of what you could do. First of all, a small ad in your newspaper. We sell entertainment guides, which includes streaming and puzzles, and still has the TV listings that people depend on. Okay, we sell 1x3 ads in that, and people get reaction. What about, instead of selling, I don't know, a people-based digital type package, how about just an email campaign? Can you sell them a geographical email campaign that's cost efficient, but tells 2,000 people, 5,000 people in the area that they are open and back at business? Figure out smart ways to sell to people. But is it hard to have that conversation? Yes, it is. But it's a conversation. And this is where, I don't know who asked the question, but this is where you have to be a partner and find out what they can afford, and match a product that you have in your portfolio that's going to help them get the message out. So that's the bottom line. You can't sell something to people that they don't need or they can't pay for. It's just not the way it works. But you can guide them into something that's going to help their business. So hope that answers it. Linda, what do you think?
I think so. And it sort of spoke to another question that somebody wrote in about how to talk to potential partners during COVID. And I think that sort of covered it as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a similar conversation. I think, again, my take is you've got to ask people how they're doing, what's changed, what are they doing to address it. Have an exchange. What's interesting too? If you are a reopening area and you're just getting around to talking to your advertisers again for the first time, since the first time I filled the gas tank in my car, you know what I'm saying, March. If you're just getting around to talking to people now, shame on you. Okay. You should have been calling your advertisers even when their businesses were closed, when they weren't in operation, just to connect and see how they were doing. One of our customers, Du Bois, Pennsylvania, the newspaper there, the ad director and the publisher made sure that every rep called their customers. It was 2 times. Now it's 3 times. They're reopened now. We've also finished there and hit their goal. They had their staff call their customers throughout the shutdown just to say, how are you doing? That was it. To sell nothing, just to check in. So I don't mean to shame anybody, but if you're only talking to your customers and reopening for the first time now, you really do need to think about that. You do really need to get on the phone and just check on them. Approach your customers carefully. Approach your advertising partners carefully and sensitively and figure out what's going on and then how you can help them. All right?
I have another question for you, Al.
Sure. Yep.
Somebody wrote in, I have eager customers when we do special sections. How can I generate interest for the rest of the year?
Oh, I love that question. I absolutely love that question. It's one of the areas I like to think that I specialize and our team specializes in this. But look, if folks are advertising in your special sections, they're already telling you that they know, like, and trust you enough to put their money in those sections. A lot of times I think advertisers think they're supporting the community by doing that. So they think it's money spent. Help them understand that consistent message every single week is a vehicle for them to keep the message going. We still want you on our special sections, but did you know that we have a program whereby you can spend X amount of dollars, still end up in the newspaper every week, twice a week, and have a digital presence on our website and do an email marketing campaign. And by the way, I noticed your website is not responsive. And if you don't know what that means, it means that I go to your website on my phone and it doesn't work because it's a website for desktop and was never converted to be a responsive website. And so a lot of newspapers sell that service. We sell that service to help people transform their websites into something that's responsive, so it's mobile friendly, okay? The way you take a special section advertiser forward is, again, to keep in touch with them, to talk to them, to share ideas with them, to put them on your Friday ideas email list and build a relationship as a business partner and not just a one-trick pony for them. Develop a relationship, develop a comfort level that you can advise them on how to advertise their business. So,
Al, I love that Friday Ideas email. I think that's a fantastic idea.
yeah, it's something everybody can do, Linda. It really is.
Absolutely. And it's so easy and everybody loves fresh ideas.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Yes.
We all think sometimes that our ideas aren't so fresh, in life. We think that, we are doing something and we just think it's whatever. And someone hears, I go, that's a fabulous idea, Or, as a connector, you say, hey, that idea can work for this company if they just do this, And so you change it around a little bit. I saw you had one more question pop up before I go back to my slides. I want to just give that person time. I'm watching our time too. We want to respect 15 minutes left, so.
This one is, do you lower your ad prices to compromise to loyal clients in hard places with regular ad contracts? Is that an option, even a 10% cut, or is that dangerous in the long run?
No, look, I think pricing is pricing, and obviously it requires a lot of thought. But I think, during COVID, especially if you go to our videos, and Linda, you guys have written about it, I think, in your newsletter, there are some newspaper companies out there that are doing grant programs. So in other words, if someone's willing to spend $1,000, you'll grant them $1,000, so there are match programs like that. I would never discount anything. I would package things. See the difference? If I discount everything, 20%, well, then that becomes the new price. But if I package things together, print with digital, digital with, maybe, people based in an email campaign, something like that, geofencing, something, I don't know, package it all together. Packaging is different than discounting. Okay. Packaging is making the value higher without lowering the price. So think about packaging versus discounting. Now, if you're a print only publication, same kind of a thing. What can you package? Can you package a larger ad and then a smaller ad later on in the week? Can you just package things a bit differently? Again, without saying, we're going to give you a 20% cut in your rate. Package things. I think that's the best way to look at that. Again, look at these grant programs that are out there. There is a video on our website. It's actually one of the longer videos, but it's really, really good, about a company out in the Midwest that did some grant programmings. And I think it's well worth watching that and maybe talking to your publisher and discussing whether or not a grant program is a possibility for your newspaper.
Here is another question. Our ad department, me as the ad director included, is searching for positive reinforcement. We know that our clients need to advertise to stay afloat, but we're experiencing a mental roadblock when trying to be motivated and positive when calling on them.
Yeah, well, listen, motivation is it's kind of interesting. I remember once I had an ad person that worked with me, and I said to this person, remember that sales people are not potato farmers. They don't just come and potato pickers. They don't just come with barrels of full of potatoes, dump them in the larger bin, you whip them on the back and send them back out to pick more potatoes. Not the way it works, okay? First of all, you have to start being motivated. I mentioned the Finger Lake Times, in this campaign. One of the great all-time motivators is this guy, Mark. It was fun. There were signs hanging. There were balloons. There was celebration. It was my rep's birthday during the campaign. They threw a birthday party for him. You keep the energy level high. You got to keep the energy level high. It's really difficult right now to not have high energy. So if you have high energy, if you have passion for what you do, you've got to go out and talk to your advertisers and have that same passion. One of the things that I love in our training, we use a guy called Mr. Inside Sales. There's a video with him on our website. There'll be 2 more coming up this week. He talks about the idea of smile and dial. I mean, it's so corny, Linda. Smile and dial. But let me ask you, Linda, since you're on here with me, can you hear a smile on the phone when you're talking to somebody?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the bottom line, folks. The person that asked this question. If you want to be motivating your advertisers, your customers, be motivated and passionate yourself. Okay. It's the smiling and dialing if you're on the phone, if you're smiling under your mask, if you're smiling in person, you're social distancing, whatever you're doing. Part of that also comes back to what I said before about being a partner and being informed. Study their business. I got to tell you, this is the thing that drives me cuckoo today. Where you schedule a meeting with somebody, and what's the first question do you think, Linda? A lot of ad reps, when they meet an advertiser for the first time, what do you think the first question they ask advertisers? Maybe I'm setting you up, maybe I'm not, but
maybe you're not. I don't know. How's
tell me about
going?
What do they say? Tell me about
your
business.
Budget.
Yeah, tell me about your business. They start with that one. So Linda, tell me about your business. And Linda's sitting there behind her desk with the business having been closed or whatever, and she's like, "You idiot! Go to my website. Go to Google, search Linda Conway and Linda's House of whatever it is you sell. Get some background." Find out what's going on about the customer before you walk in the door. Stop asking customers to tell you about their business. Don't ask them that. What's that?
I said, do your homework. It's like going to a job interview and not finding out anything about the company before you go.
Boom. Do your homework. So when you walk in the door, you want to keep your advertiser motivated. You want to keep them, happy. You want to motivate them to do business with you. At least know who they are when you walk in the door. Okay. So that's, a big answer for a question. How do we keep motivated? I think we keep motivated by motivating ourselves, realizing we have a mission, being informed, smile and dial, smile in front of the customer, be motivated. Bottom line. All right. If I don't get back to my slides, Linda, we're never going to finish this thing.
All right. I'll let you get back to your slides. I have
I'll
a couple of other questions.
Yeah, I'll leave some time at the end. Absolutely. So one thing I want to push people to is an old book. It's on my bookshelf right over here. It's called Good to Great. Okay. And it's been around for a while. Love this book. I imagine if you just finished college and you majored in business, you had to read it. I imagine if you were been in business for a few decades, you already read it. But I want to remind you one thing in this book. I love it. Kind of a long quote. It's on page 139 of the printed book. Most of us lead busy but undisciplined lives. Talk about undisciplined lives. Man, we specialize at that right now, don't we? We have ever-expanding to-do lists, trying to build momentum by doing, and doing more. And it rarely works. Those who built the good to great companies, however, made as much use of stop doing lists as to-do lists. They displayed a remarkable discipline to unplug all sorts of extraneous junk, stuff that just didn't matter, okay? In other words, stop doing to start doing. And I think, Linda, of being in the hotel at the conference in 2018, was it? When did we bring Chris in with the podcast of Dirty John? Do you remember?
That was 2018. Yeah, you're
18.
right.
Yeah. So Chris is up there and he's doing a great job talking about podcasting. And, he did a session later on to a workshop with me on podcasting. And I had an editor walk up to me and go, well, how the hell am I supposed to do podcasting now? And my response to that editor was, stop doing something. And the reaction was, what? Stop doing something else to do podcasting. There's something you're doing in your newsroom that you think is super important that the reader might not agree with. Stop doing something to start doing something else. So when it comes to us as salespeople, right, as advertisers, advertising, representatives and revenue people, what can we stop doing now so we can start doing something? I put a little list here. Stop getting a slow start to your day and dig in, okay? Stop talking about what was on TV last night, for 20 minutes. If you're face-to-face or on Zoom, whatever you do. Stop getting a slow start to your day. Get right in there. Stop complaining about your ad placement system or whatever else it is you complain about. Stop whining. Stop whining, Stop using paperwork as an excuse not to sell. This is a huge one for me. The most efficient people in any department in the newspapers that I've ever worked on, and I think I've done almost every single job. You can just, get your paperwork to be the least part of your day. Figure out how to do it fast, but don't make it the excuse not to sell. Stop stopping in. This is another one. I got to tell you, we see it all day long. People who think cold calls are the secret to life. They are not. They're a giant waste of time because you come in with nothing to talk about, so you talk about nothing. Make an appointment and talk about something specific. Stop stopping in. What can you start doing? How about learn how to use one feature of your email program like we talked about? How to use Zoom. Learn something new. Here's an article I have in this book. When you click on it, 5 steps to a clutter-free workspace, changing workspace. Of course, I won't turn my camera around right now in my office, but begin a weekly idea sharing thing. Right back to that idea again. Take a good idea from one visit and apply it to another. I have them in here. Implement your phone's calendar to plan every minute of your day. What does that mean? That means schedule even the time you have to make phone calls and set appointments. Schedule the time to do that paperwork and make that a smaller amount of time. Put it all in your calendar. The old saying of what gets scheduled gets done. Bottom line, what gets scheduled get done. So you hear me say, hey, do a Friday video on ideas, okay? And you go, Al, who the hell has time for that? We're down 2 salespeople. I'm covering part of another territory. I don't know if anybody's ever going to take it back or not. I get it. Well, yeah, I got it. Everybody's in your, yeah, but if you don't start doing a weekly video now and making time for it, you're never going to do it. So do a weekly video. Stop making excuses. Stop doing something. Start doing something else. Sit in your kitchen with a camera. Figure it out. Learn how to do a new editing software. iMovie in your iPhone, the most amazing little editing software that there is. It's incredible. You can become a video professional overnight. I'm just challenging you. Do something different. Stop something and start doing something else, okay? So I mentioned there'd be bonus, folks, of other ways people said to do. Watching our time here, Linda, what are we doing? How are we doing time-wise?
We're at 1:53. We've got about 7 minutes left.
All right, I'm going to go through a few of these quickly, then take some more questions and wrap things up. Be respectful of time. I asked some of the professionals in our industry, what are the things that have to change with the pandemic to change the way we sell? Scott Champion, CEO of Champion Media, talk about a passionate and motivated guy. This is a really motivated guy. He says we must do a better job of using email blasts to reach customers that we may not be calling on regularly to let them know what we have to offer. Boom. Remind people that you're out there. You are the local media. Know, like, and trust. If you're not doing more emailing to people, and believe me, people read emails. And if you are invited into people's email box, just do one thing for me. Make the email worth reading, okay? Make the email worth reading. In other words, solve a problem that they don't know already. Either they know they have or they don't know they have, and give them a solution for it. That's how you become useful. Great suggestion from Scott. Kelly wrote, be creative and encourage newspaper managers to have some added value to all sales. This is a small way to say we're glad you are open to that question you had before, Linda, right? Value added. Don't reduce your price, increase your value. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all to increase the value. Okay. Great job, Kelly. David Stringer out in Oklahoma says, sell the solution, not the product. Do not pitch anything unless you can explain specifically how it benefits the client. It's what we said before, right? If you're selling stuff because just you want to sell it, I mean, don't sell me a dozen red balloons if it ain't my birthday, okay, or somebody else's. I don't need them. Sell me something that I need today. That's what's most important. Jason, one of our partners in Ohio, don't be afraid to contact them for fear of appearing opportunistic, them being the customer. Many welcome the contact, especially if your product fits their business. This is so wise. It goes back to what somebody asked before. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Just because you drove by and it looked like they were closed, still pick up the phone and call them, find out what they're planning to do. They want to talk about it. This is where I disagree with the other person I heard on the webinar. You got to ask people how they're doing. It's humanistic. Kelly says, some business owners are lost, so you need to offer the advice to help them innovate, as in selling online, delivering products, building a pickup window, etc. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You guys should be doing Zoom webinars in your communities. You should be bringing Kelly's idea to fruition and having a conversation about selling online, delivering products, how to do a pickup window or a curb pickup, things like that. You know, a lot of communities right now too, especially down towards Boston and that area, you know, you guys are still coming out of the reopening phase. Help people understand what curb pickup means. It's not a sign of anything other than that you're going to pull up and they're going to hand it to you. You know, help people figure that out. It's a system. Have a webinar. Great job, Kelly. Darren says, don't bombard them with options. Right? What have I been saying? Design a few highly appealing menu choices for our customers to choose from. They need to be appealing to the potential customers to get them started, and include options for current customers to grow into as their results increase. In other words, Darren's saying what I said in the beginning: sell customers what they need. Help them figure out what's going to get them through the current situation and move in that direction. Jennifer says we must be sensitive to our customers' needs. They're struggling like the rest of us, so we need to determine how we can help best them and attempt to regain a sense of normalcy. It's that thing too, right? Regaining, everybody wants a sense of normalcy. Everybody wants to go back to normal, and it's just not going to happen for a while. You know, we thought we were there, now things are exploding again. So we got to keep a mindful eye on what's happening in the marketplace. You know, but how can you bring a sense of normalcy to people? How can you people help transition? So I love what she says, be sensitive to their needs. It all goes back to this communication to our customers, 100%. Parks Roger says, on in-person calls, we should become fully masked, gloved with hand sanitizers and wipes on hand. We should never be the party in the interaction that makes the customer uncomfortable. This is so important, okay? If your preparedness seems like overkill, then we can come back down, remove the mask, back off. So what this is saying is, when you're on a sales call and you walk in, you should be ready to fully social distance, have a mask, have hand sanitizers. And if the customer, you know, is more comfortable backing off and dropping the mask, that's between you and the customer. But what Parks is saying in this one is set the bar high. It's like my mom used to say about wearing a suit, right? A suit and a tie. She used to say, if you go there and you don't know the dress code, if you wear a suit and tie, you can always take the tie off, and your guy, always take the tie off and loosen your collar and get rid of your tie, okay? Same kind of a thing with this. You can always, you know, casual down a little bit. So that's why I love Parks' advice. Jamie says, email, call versus dropping by and announce. Set an organized structure to your emails and make them consistent and brief so clients get back to you. Ask if you can text a client. I love that. You know, I remember just 2 years ago, you know, the text relationship was almost like asking somebody out on a date, right? Is it okay if I text you? Well, now people are much more comfortable with texting, so get that permission a lot sooner. And again, you're hearing this message over and over again. Set appointments. Don't just drop in on people. So there are more ideas in the ebook that we have available. I want to get you guys out of your pajamas. I am not wearing pajama pants right now, Linda, I swear. You know, off of Zoom, wearing your pajama pants, off the couch. We want more people to open up. We want to help them reopen. So with that, Linda, I'm just going to stop and see what other questions you might have.
I just have a couple more. So one of them is, how can we become business partners with our advertising clients and help them reach their audience through our offerings? I mean, you've touched a lot on that. But...
I think I did. Yeah, I think, so. You know, the basic premise of marketing is know, like, and trust. You know, you've got to build know, like, and trust with your customers and be business partners. Once you build the know, like, and trust, the rest just happens organically. You know, they start seeing you as a business partner. They start depending upon you for what you know. And what's different about newspapering today as compared to when I first started in newspapers, I couldn't sell you a TV commercial. I couldn't sell you a radio commercial. We just sold print advertising. Today, I can sell you just about everything. Okay, I can sell you a pre-roll, post-roll. I can sell you, I can, whatever platform your customer's comfortable on, I can sell you an ad for that platform. Whatever website they go to, I can follow them and give them an ad. There's so much more I can do today what I couldn't do years ago. So.
Your answer was almost a perfect lead into this next question.
How
does the conversation need to change to battle the free and lower cost mediums Facebook and Instagram offer? Should we incorporate these services into our offerings? And if so, how did we do so profitably?
Wait, so did they call Facebook free? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, well, they said to battle the free and lower cost mediums.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, all right? Because we only have a certain amount of time left here. It's exactly 2 o'clock. Facebook is not free, okay? Those are not free mediums. I love this question when people say, well, not a question, but this objection. We walk in to sell advertising and they say, I don't need advertising. I have a Facebook page and my Facebook page has 500 likes. And I say, that's fantastic. Congratulations to you. When you posted something this morning, guess how many people are going to see it by the end of the week? They go, well, everybody. No. If you have 500 likes on your Facebook page and you would like all those people to see it, you better get ready to spend about $100 minimally. And they go, what? And I go, yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to boost a post for people to see it on Facebook. Facebook is not like going, oh, God, thank God. Al's House of Shoes just posted something on this page. We have to show everybody what he posted. No. What they say is, hey, Al, you just posted something. That's really nice. Pay us and we're going to get it out to more people, and you can create an audience from there. Okay. It's not free. You're not battling against free. If people are telling you they're getting it done for free, then they're getting the same kind of results. They're free of results because you have to pay to get results in social media. There is nothing that is free. I am not against Facebook advertising. I am not against Instagram advertising. I think if it's for your audience, I boost posts, for our audience all the time. But you have got to understand that when you're selling against something that people say is free, it is not free. It might feel free, but it is not free. So, I don't know what else that they're talking about in that question, Linda, about what else could be free. But I'm telling you right now, social media is not free.
Okay. I have one that's a pretty direct question that asks, what are your recommendations to approach real estate advertising post stay at home?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, the real estate business has changed so dramatically in that there are so many ways I can virtually look at a property without leaving my kitchen counter, And it's funny, I combine my Sunday paper with, we all are looky-loos, right? I love being a looky-loo. It's like, you don't have to go to an open house anymore. That's what I love about real estate. But I can find something, in my area and go, oh, that's a nice looking house. I'd love to see what it looks like. I go to either the realtor's website or the MLS. I type in the number. I can tour the whole house. Okay. So when it comes to realtors, have that conversation. Let them know that in print and digitally, we can lead people to your properties that you have listed. If you have not been following the real estate market, the inventory is there, the rates are low, and people are buying houses during the pandemic. I have a friend of mine who moved from California to Vermont during the pandemic. He's been in this house for about a month and a half in the Brattleboro area, okay? During the pandemic, he sold the house so fast that he wasn't even ready for it, had to, move out and carry all the stuff across country with the mover. Real estate's moving. So help your realtors understand that if they don't understand it already, and I'm sure they probably do because they're hearing it from other realtors, get the message out and people will respond. Get the message out and people will be going to your website and wanting to hear more about, what it is you're selling. So any other questions, Linda?
No, I think that's it. Somebody just asked if we're going to be sending the presentation out to everybody, and yes, we will. We'll be sending it out to everybody.
I just saw that one too. We will. Let me go back to the deck really fast and just remind people of a couple things. First of all, that you can go to the website, download this paperwork there. Our newspaper website is, our website is newspaperconsultants.com. Right on the very top, you can download that page. That's the book. You can go ahead and grab it. I know, Linda, you're probably going to have a link for it as well in your information you'll send out. Also, I want to remind you of this library of videos. Folks, I'm not kidding. There are some fantastic people on here. I have Disney executives on these videos. They're pretty incredible and they're short. So go ahead. It's newspaperconsultants.com/videos, and you'll find I think it's 26 with about 3 more being added this week. So that's what I have, Linda. Thank you.
All right, this was terrific. Thank you so much, Al.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Like I said, we'll send that all out. We'll send all the links so that they can see all your videos and get more ideas from your site too.
All right, super. Well, I guess first we have to say goodbye to Facebook, right? Bye to the folks on the Facebook page. Yep. And then we'll
say
we'll
goodbye to Facebook.
And I didn't bother putting any of my contact information out there. I'm not here to sell you guys today. If you want to reach me, just ask Linda. She'll give you my email address.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Al. Really appreciate it. A lot of good information today.
All right, thank you, Linda.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, just reach out to either me or Al. Thanks.